I want you to think about the most important conversation you've ever had at work. Not the performance review, not the interview that got you hired, the one you almost didn't have. The coffee you almost didn't ask for, the email you almost didn't send, the dinner where you almost didn't say the thing. One conversation changed my entire career, and today I'm going to tell you exactly how it happened so you can go find yours. Hey, my people leaders, my growth getters, my I would rather chew glass than make small talk at a networking event crew. What's up? Welcome back to Workday Playdate with Improve It, the show where we use humor and play to help you lead better, live better, and today, network without wanting to crawl under a table. That's right. I'm your host, Erin Diehl, and before we jump in, quick favor that truly helps this show grow. If this podcast has ever made you laugh, it's ever made you think, or it's ever made you text a friend, listen to this, will you please leave us a review on iTunes or hit 5 stars on Spotify? Those reviews keep this playdate going, and literally we read every single one. So I want to get into today's episode because, y'all, it is personal. I'm going to tell you a story, and it's a real one. It's about a dinner, a pitch, an airline, and how one single conversation launched an entire company. But first, that's like the back, going back in time. You know what I was doing, right? That thing where you go, anyway. But first, let me take you back in time to a version of me who had never recruited anyone, never done business development, and was showing up to networking events in Chicago with nothing but audacity and a name tag. So let me set the scene for y'all. Now, before Improve It existed, which is the company I founded, if you don't know Improve It, we are an improv-infused professional development company for the new generation of work, okay? So before it existed, before the workshops, before Workday Playdate, the podcast, before any of this, I was working at a recruiting firm in Chicago. Now, I was doing business development for this recruiting firm, which sounds very official and put together, except I had never done business development before. I'd also never recruited anyone before. And so basically, I was a person with a job title and a prayer. And my strategy, if you could even call it that, was to show up to every networking event I could find in Chicago. This is like, what year was this? This was like 2011, okay? So I was going to every networking I could find, event I could find on Eventbrite in Chicago, and I'm talking literally like every single one. I went to HR events. I went to talent acquisition events. I went to industry mixers. If there was name tags and appetizers, I was there. And honestly, I was mostly just trying to figure out who the players were in Chicago, who's who, who's doing what, how does this whole world work? I was brand new and I was learning truly through proximity. So one night, I went to an event where a woman from talent acquisition at United Airlines was speaking. Her name was Pam. Shout out to Pam, because I'm going to send her this episode. Shout out to Pam, because I remember watching Pam speak and thinking to myself, this woman is incredible. The way she talked about talent, about building teams, about culture, I was like, I want to know this person. I need to know this person. So here's the moment. This is the moment where most people would think, wow, she's amazing. And then you'd go home and do absolutely nothing about it. But I did not do that. I got her email address and I reached out and I asked her to meet me for coffee. And guess what? She said yes. That's it. That was the first domino, a cold email and a cup of coffee. So we met, we talked, and we just clicked. Not in a like, let's do business right away together way, in a real human, I genuinely like you and I want to keep talking to you type way. So over time, that coffee turned into a friendship. And that friendship turned into a professional relationship. And we started partnering together through the recruiting firm I was working at. And we kept building, we kept showing up for each other. And then, dun dun, the dinner. I'll never forget this. I was at a dinner with my boss at the time. Her name is Jen, who I'm still obsessed with to this day. Her name is Jen D'Angelo. She's a full chapter in my book, I See You. And I was at a dinner with Jen and Pam. And here's what happened. I had come up with this idea, this little idea that I couldn't stop thinking about. An idea that starting a company that used improv comedy to help people be better at their jobs could work. I told my boss, Jen, about it, and she did not just support it. She championed it. She said, you have to do this. You should talk to Pam at United Airlines at dinner and see if she has any ideas and knows anybody who would want to hire you for this. So at that dinner, I told Pam about my idea for Improve It. And Pam, God bless you, Pam. She looked at me and said, well, why don't you pilot, pun intended, a workshop for my team at United Airlines, my talent acquisition team? We won't pay you, but we'll give you feedback. Pun intended from the United Airlines woman. I mean, come on, okay? I'll never forget my boss, Jen, letting me do this during the work hours. I was at my recruiting firm. She let me put together a program, build something from scratch, and then walk into a room at United Airlines to put it on its feet. And let me just say this, the feeling I got leading that room, I knew that was it. So I did another workshop for United, for their talent acquisition team. They gave me more feedback. I iterated. I got better. And then Pam said the words that changed everything. Okay, we want to reach a bigger audience with this. We'll pay you. What's your rate? United Airlines officially became Improve It's first paying client. And that workshop that Pam let me pilot, that became the foundation for everything we do at Improve It today. And we now still bring that same energy, that same improv-based, let's make networking actually fun approach to teams of up to 100 people, 2 hours in person or 90 minutes virtually. And every single time I lead one of our 14 now different workshops, I think about Pam's conference room at United Airlines and how it literally all started with a cup of coffee and a why not. And let me say, all of it, every bit of it started because I walked up to a woman at a networking event, got her email, and asked her to coffee. So here's what I need you to hear, peeps. I got to clear my throat, okay? Because she's coming off a month's sinus infection, but I'm clearing my throat because I need you to hear this. That dinner did not change my career. The coffee did. That dinner was the big moment, sure, but that's the one that looks good in the story. But the dinner never happens without the coffee. The coffee never happens without the email. The email never happens without me being willing to walk up to somebody I admired and say, hey, I loved what you said. Can we talk more? That's networking. Not the name tag and elevator pitch version. Not the let me scan your QR code and never speak to you again version. Real networking, human networking, the kind that builds friendships first and careers second. And if you are literally sitting there thinking, yeah, but I could never do that. I'm super awkward. I'm socially awkward. I don't know what to say. I'd rather eat my own shoe than walk up to a stranger at an event. I promise you, I was that person. I just decided to be that person who did it anyway. So, story time is winding down. But the lessons, y'all, are just getting started because I want you to find your version of that coffee, your version of that email, your version of that dinner. So let's break down exactly how to make it happen, even if networking makes you want to hide in the bathroom, especially if networking makes you want to hide in the bathroom. This is a 5-step framework. You know I love an acronym. It's called BREW IT, okay? BREW IT, BREW. The step 1, the B, stands for be there. Now, I know this sounds stupidly simple, but the first step to finding a career-changing conversation is being in the room where it can happen. In the room where it happened, little Hamilton reference for you. I didn't find Pam on LinkedIn. I didn't stumble across her on a podcast. I was physically in a room listening to her speak because I had dragged myself to do another networking event on a weeknight when I could have been on my couch watching Bravo like a normal person. In improv, we say you have to show up to the rehearsal. You can't get better at scenes you never play. You can't build chemistry with scene partners you've never met. The same is true for networking. You don't need to go to every event, but you do need to go to some events. The industry breakfast, the speaker series, the thing your company invited you to that you RSVP'd maybe and then ghosted. Go. Not because every event will change your life. Most won't, but one of them might. And you'll never know which one unless you show up. So I want you to try this. I want you to look at the next 30 days. And I want you to find one event, in person or virtual, preferably in person, where you can be in a room with people you don't already know. Put it on your calendar, show up. That is the assignment. All right. Step 2, in the BREW IT method, your R, B-R. R is reach out. So this is the step that separates the people who say, I should network more, from the people who actually build career-changing relationships. You have to reach out after the event, after the talk, after the panel, after the moment where you think, wow, that person was amazing. You have to do something about it. I could have watched Pam speak and thought she's incredible and then gone home and done nothing. And you know what would have happened? Nothing. No coffee, no friendship, no United Airlines on my client logo board, no improve it. Instead, I got her an email and I sent her a message. And it wasn't some long, formal 6-paragraph thing. It was basically, and again, this is like 12 years ago. Hey, Pam, I saw you speak at blank event. I loved what you said about blank. I'm in talent development and would love to learn more about what you're doing at United. Would you be open to grabbing coffee? That's it. It was short, specific, human. And in improv, the first line of a scene doesn't need to be brilliant. It just needs to be an offer. Something your scene partner can say yes and to. The email is the offer. The yes is the coffee. So try this. I want you to think of one person you've admired from afar, a speaker you saw, a leader in your industry, somebody whose work makes you think, I want to know how they do that. I want you to send them a 3-sentence email this week. I want you to reference something specific and ask for 20 minutes. That is literally the whole move. And if they say no, great. Listen, that is a rep. You practice reaching out. Send another one to somebody else. Improv is all about reps, not results. Step 3, we got our BREW, B-R-E. Okay, your E stands for earn the relationship. Here's where networking gets a bad rep. People treat it like a vending machine. You put in a conversation, you get out of favor. That is not networking. That is using people. And people can smell it from across the conference room. Now, when I met Pam for coffee, I was not thinking, how can this person help my career? I was thinking, this woman is fascinating and I want to learn from her. And over time, we built a real friendship. We partnered, we supported each other, we earned each other's trust. And then when the moment came to pitch an idea, the door was already open because we'd been building the house for months. In improv, trust is built scene by scene. You can't walk into an improv show and expect your scene partner to trust you if you've never played together. You earn that trust by showing up, by listening, and making them look good. That is a big improv rule. Always make your scene partner look good. So networking, y'all, is the same. And here's the beautiful part. Earning the relationship doesn't have to cost money or take a ton of time. It just takes thoughtfulness. So here's some ways to add value when you can't write a check. Because let me tell you this for free, I didn't have a check to write back in those days, okay? So here's some things you can do. You can leave them a review. If they have a book, a podcast, a business, go leave a genuine, specific review wherever that thing may be. So if it's a podcast, Apple iTunes is always a good idea. Business, a Google review, a book, Amazon or Goodreads review. That literally takes 3 minutes and it means the world. Heck, you can even leave them a review on LinkedIn or endorse them on LinkedIn. That shows good faith. Share their work, repost their article, tag them in a story, send their podcast to a friend. Amplifying somebody's work is truly one of the most generous things you can do. And then I want you to send a thank you. That's specific, not thanks for the coffee, but what you said about this really stuck with me. I'm going to try this action this week because of it. And that's truly the kind of follow-up people remember. And then make an introduction. Know somebody who could benefit from meeting them. I want you to connect them. Be that bridge. In improv, we call that supporting the scene, making other people look good. So be a consistent, constant presence in their life. I want you to follow up, check in, ask about their family, their pets, send an article you think they'd like. Relationships are built in the follow-through, not in the first meeting. So I want you to try this. Think of somebody you've already met once, maybe at a coffee, a conversation, a quick chat at an event, and do one thing this week to add value to them. A review, a share, an introduction, a thank you. I want you to earn that next scene. All right? So we've done our B, our R, our E. We're now at the end, the W of BREW. And W stands in step 4 for win them over. And by win them over, I don't mean pretend to be somebody else. Win them over with who you actually are. All right, peeps, hold my hand, because this is going to make some of y'all uncomfortable. Here we go. Hold it. You don't win people over with your resume. You win them over with your energy. Now, okay, let go of the hands. Let us just take a breath. Pam didn't say yes to coffee because I had an impressive LinkedIn profile. And truly at the time I didn't. She said yes because I was genuine, because I was specific, because I was enthusiastic. I told her exactly what I admired about her, and I wasn't trying to be somebody I wasn't. And at that dinner, when I pitched Improve It, I didn't have a pitch deck. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't even have a website or a landing page. I didn't know what Squarespace was. Okay. And that's a hosting site for your website. I had an idea and I had a passion and had the guts to say it out loud at a dinner table. Now in improv, the best performers aren't the ones with the cleverest lines. They're the ones who are the most authentically themselves on stage. And let me tell you something, the audience, they just feel that. They lean in, they trust you. So networking works the exact same way. People don't remember your title. They remember how you made them feel. They remember that you were curious, that you listened, that you laughed at your joke or their joke. You can laugh at your own jokes too. They remember that you were real. So I want you to try this. Before your next networking conversation, whether it's a coffee, a call, random encounter at a conference, I want you to set one intention. I'm going to be curious, not impressive. I'm going to be curious, not impressive. Ask them questions. Listen to the answers. Find the thing that makes you genuinely go, oh, that's cool. And then follow that thread. That is not even networking. That's connecting. And connecting is where the magic lives. So we are now to step 5, okay, which is invite the next scene. So in improv, the best scenes don't end with a punchline. They end with an invitation, something that says, there's more here. Let's keep building. Most people in networking have a great conversation and then they let it die. They go home, they mean to follow up, they don't, and that connection fades. Don't let your scene end. At the end of every meaningful conversation, invite the next one. I love this. Can we do it again in a month? I'm working on something and I love your perspective on it. Can I send you a note about it? I have somebody I think you should meet. Can I make an intro for you? Each of these is an offer, a yes and waiting to happen. If Pam and I had grabbed that first coffee and I never followed up, there wouldn't have been a dinner. There wouldn't have been a pitch. There would probably not be Improve It. Not in that way. The first conversation opens the door. The follow-up walks through it. So I want you to try this. At the end of your next meaningful conversation, say these words out loud, then actually do it. The fortune is in the follow-up. Always has been. Say these words, okay? I'd love to keep this going. What's the best way to stay in touch? And maybe they tell you, I'm an email person. Or maybe they're like, I'm a texter, text me. Whatever it is, I'd love to keep this going. What's the best way to stay in touch? So here's your BREW IT method, all right? Your recap. The B is be there. Your R is reach out. Your E is earn the relationship. Your W is win them over with who you actually are. Your I is invite the next scene. The BREW IT framework, because let me tell you, the best things in life and in business start with a cup of coffee and the guts to ask for it. So your Playdate practice, y'all, it's called the One Conversation Challenge, and here's how it works. I want you to think of one person. This is step one. Somebody you admire, somebody you've been watching from afar, someone whose work or leadership makes you think, I want to know how they do that. And step one is just write down their name. Step two, write a 3-sentence reach out. Keep it short, keep it specific, keep it human. Reference something they did, tell them why it resonated, ask them for 20 minutes. 3 sentences, ask for 20 minutes. Step 3, super simple, hit send. Yes, it will feel terrifying. Yes, your armpits will sweat. Yes, your finger will hover over the button. Yes, you will question every word. Send it anyway. That is improv, saying the line before you feel ready. And step 4 is if they say yes, show up curious, not impressive. Ask questions, listen, find that genuine connection. And if they say no, beautiful. You took the stage, now send another one, okay? And step 5, after the conversation, do one thing to add value, genuine value within 48 hours. A thank you, a review of their work, a share, an intro. Make them glad that they said yes. And if networking still feels like pulling teeth, we have a freebie for you, y'all. It's in the show notes. It's called Networking Without Feeling Weird. And it's a 2-part toolkit to help you feel confident, clear, and grounded in any networking room, because networking doesn't have to feel performative and transactional. It can actually feel good. It's free. It is yours. It is a 2-part toolkit that literally comes to you via email. It is absolutely free. Grab it in the show notes, okay? So y'all, if this episode hits you, my peeps, if you were sitting there thinking about that person you've been meaning to reach out to, this is your sign. Send the email. Because here's what I know for sure. Improve It, the company that I've built for the past 12 years, does not exist without a cold email to a stranger named Pam. This podcast, Workday Playdate, didn't exist and almost did not exist without a cup of coffee I almost didn't ask for. My entire career does not exist without one conversation over dinner where I had the guts to say, hey, I have this idea. Your version of that conversation is out there, but you can't find it on the couch. You have to show up. You have to reach out. You have to be willing to be awkward, to be bold, to be yourself. And if you're a leader listening, thinking my team needs this like yesterday, we would love to come play with your people. That workshop I piloted at United Airlines, we've been doing it for teams ever since, and it's one of my favorite things we do. Reach out to us at Improve It, and let's get your team brewing some real connections. Please go grab that Networking Without Feeling Weird toolkit in the show notes. It's your 2-part toolkit for walking into any room with confidence and leaving with real connections. And then finally, send this episode to a friend who has that incredible idea and incredible relationships that are waiting to happen. They just need to hit send on that email first. Because y'all, we aren't sitting on the back line anymore. We are not admiring people from afar and doing nothing about it. We are brewing, BREWING, career-changing conversations. So don't forget, please leave that iTunes review so we can keep bringing you the good stuff. Know that I'm seeing you. I see you, and I'm rooting for you. And Pam, she is rooting for you too. She told me. Well, she didn't technically tell me for this episode, but I know that she would. Now go find your Pam. I'll see you next time on Workday Playdate with Improve It.